one of their normal modes of transportation. We do see that these octopus have, the mantle extends down the arms quite a bit, so they do have kind of a broader area in which to propel themselves when they are swimming.
They're so beautiful when they swim.
Yeah. And like Annie's saying, we know they occur here, but there's a lot of area we haven't looked all around Davidson Seamount where they may also be located.
Every once in a while, the video engineer comes back and hands us some candy. It's really nice.
And it's my favorite with peanut butter. Aaron, is this you?
It is. That is the full remaining peanut butter cup supply, so I might have to put in some ration rolls for the other watches.
It's
Thanks,
fabulous.
Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
What's that up in the water column? Is that another ctenophore?
Yeah, looks like it.
So
You
we
guys
saw
zoom on in there if you want their video.
on our last watch, we saw a ctenophore that was kind of a orangish red. This looks like a lobate ctenophore. Oh, wow. Look, you can really see some of the details. So ctenophore, I hear last time we saw a ctenophore, there was a lot of questions about how do you spell that? And that's a C-T, right?
Yeah, and you can also, those on Nautilus Live, if you look below the video stream, I'm pretty sure you'll see all the observations that I'm making as data logger. So I do my best to get my spellings right, so you can see how it's spelled.
Yeah,
So you can
but if you wanted to search for it online, you want to start with a C and then the T-E-N, ctenophore, O-P-H-O-R-E. But they're called commonly comb jellies. Oh, there, we had a little bit of that sparkle that you can see when the combs are beating. They refract light, the light that we're giving off. And those teens are used to propel them through the water. And a researcher at Mbari has been looking at a lot of the gelatinous organisms that live in the water column, and
really
most of them can bioluminesce as well. So it's quite possible if we had the lights off and we're able to watch this animal, it'd be able to generate some of its own light.
Yeah.
That's great video, thank you.
All right, go ahead and combine, please, video.
The Brazingid sea star is one of the first deep sea animals I got to witness when I had the opportunity to do an Alvin dive, and it was just, it left such an impression.
How large do they get? Pretty, like the ones that you saw, were they?
Thanks. Based on the lasers, they were similar size to what we're seeing here.
Tell us more about being on Alvin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat this Reese's peanut butter cup.
When you're done eating that Reese's peanut butter cup, please tell us more about it. I was asking you to do that so I could eat my Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah, it was, I had the opportunity to go because I was out to sea as a tech with a scientist who chose not to do his dive. And so I got to be sent down, and it was really, it was one of the fastest days of my life because you're so amped up on excitement and adrenaline. It was just eye-opening and awe-inspiring, and really helped me find kind of the topic of research that continues to excite me day after day.
Where was the dive?
It was at the Dorado Outcrop, which is the first site where these clustering of brooding octopuses was discovered.
So you saw those also through Alvin?
Yeah, they were all over the place, and they were just kind of like in the way of the geohydrology, so we made observations, but...
Do you remember who your pilot was?
Yeah, my pilot was Phil Fort.
So these octopus that we're seeing are all believed to be one species, and we believe they are
It's coral.
the
Okay.
Moose octopus robustus.
Sure. You're off SPL, by the way.
No, I just have my microphone down. Thank you.
Go ahead and push on in their video.
We're going to zoom in on this real quick. We see a different kind of branching pattern on this one than the one we zoomed in before.
And good morning to you too, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Do you want to see the
Oh,
other
look at
size
this.
for the polyps, or is this all right for you?
No, I think this is good. Maybe we can zoom out again and get a
little
sense
wide,
for how
please.
large it is.
So cool.
And you can see there was a nice looking yellow sponge hiding behind there too.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's similar to the one that we saw earlier, the yellow sponge.
I think it looks that way. This coral looks different than the coral we saw earlier. So thanks for getting that zoom.
Sure.
Sea star is interesting too.
Here's the size in case you want the size.
Thank you. Did you get a shot? Wait, did you get a screen capture of the overall size with the lasers?
Yes.
Okay,
I
thank you.
can get another
Sure.
one.
I come full wide their video.
Very cool little knob.
That's up. You're seeing lots
Lot
of pillows there.
diversity.
And the geology, see how it looks like a very plush rock. It's quite hard, but it forms in those pilloous geomorphs.
And that's just as
It's a
the
giant Parietes lobata,
the rock is
low-bait
being
coral.
formed by the volcanoes, because Davidson Seamount is an extinct volcano.
Yep.
So millions of years ago, it was an active volcano.
And so what we can see is, which is just speculation, but like when we have these rubble fields and then all of a sudden we have these very hard rock areas over them, that might be a case where you had a flow that occurred after the rock had already experienced some kind of weathering and basically secondary flows and third flows. And so outcrops will build over time. They'll continue to grow until their volcanism becomes dormant.
This is an interesting question. This is my first go around as an CF out on Nautilus. They want to know, do you guys ever just sit somewhere with the ROV lights off during a dive to see what, if anything, you can see? It's black down there, yeah?
We used to have a low light. Or
Yeah, there's sometimes an excuse for it, yeah.
Yeah.
We had the low light camera Jess was talking about, and I've done a little bit of work with Amanda actually on sponge reefs in BC, and sometimes there's some instruments that they put in there and leave them in situ, and I can remember a couple of times like maybe doing something with a light or something like that, so we took all the vehicle lights off.
Very cool.
Sometimes if you're surrounded by krill, you can turn them off and convince them all to go up around Argus.
convince them. It's negotiation skills, that.
So wait, what are you trying to accomplish there with the krill?
Make them go away.
Okay, got
So
it.
you can
So they'll go to the lights of
Yeah,
Argus
they'll just
instead of
follow
the,
the light,
okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah, sorry. Now sometimes they get so thick, like you can't see to where the arm is, right? And just have to shut the lights off. And
The krill are
Convince them to
neat
leave.
because they migrate up and down in the water column depending on the daylight, right?
Yes.
Krill NATO.
That's right. At nighttime, the krill will ascend in the water column so that they can go up and forage on the animals that have been, the plankton that have been turning sunlight into energy. But if they stay up in that part of the water column where you get sunlight, then they're visible to all the animals that want to eat them, like the whales and the seabirds. So when the sun comes up, they descend down into the deeper twilight zone to try and escape some of those visual predators.
It's curious.
And they do that every day.
Sorry, it's curious to me that they would go towards the light of Argus and away from the darkness.
Yeah, right, because they seem to be going away from the light, but maybe when they're down that deep, there's some other attraction.
Yeah, they're like, this isn't UV. It's fine.
So if you're watching on the quad cam, you see the view of us doing the transect from the ROV Hercules, which does all of the quote-unquote heavy lifting, most of the photography, the deployment of our monitoring equipment. And then if you look in the upper right, you can see a view of Hercules from the ROV Argus, which sits above and acts to stabilize Hercules, minimize the amount of up and down rocking caused by the ship, the tether to the ship. Argus also provides light for Hercules as well.
Aaron, where are we relative to the end of this transect?
Just is it okay if I zoom out a bit? The ship's about 177 meters off, but ROV's quite a bit behind that, so we can kind of zoom out and get a view.
Okay.
All right, so if you can get a spot there. So from Herc to the end, still about 240 meters.
Okay.
Are we moving to the next one to the right then?
No, we'll be going
Up and around?
to
Is it number 4?
3, 4.
3, 4?
Okay, so from 4 to 3?
Yeah, we would go from 4 to 3.
Okay.
Is that labeled the same on HiPAC?
Oh, I
No.
highly doubt it. But we'll find out soon.
I think it's 2 on HiPAC.
Yeah, that's probably a good guess.
So this is some more of those pillows you were talking about?
Yeah. And so pillows have that nice shape as the hot magma or lava, once it comes out, extrudes from the seafloor, it quenches as it touches that really, really cold bottom water, so it immediately solidifies. But the internal temperature is still warm enough that that fluid's able to flow a little bit in a plasticky behavior. And so it's almost like how it's been described to me in many geology classes is when you squeeze toothpaste out of a tube, you get these tubular formations and the nice billowy, pillowy, rounded formations just from that quenching. But the continuous flow of that, the fluid inside enables it to continue to
Pillow.
pillow on itself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But oftentimes they're pretty shiny, and you can see elongation and striations in the direction of flow as it continues to grow.
Oh, okay.
With the sediment cover, it's hard to distinguish those fine details, but they're quite beautiful.
I missed the opportunity while I was an undergrad to take a geology class. I was so focused on biology and all that fun stuff, but I wish I had taken one.
You know, the good thing about geology classes, you don't have to just be an undergrad.
I
you can
know.
be an established scientist to take one.
I would. I'm just gonna have to find that extra time.
Yeah.
I
What's
wish
that?
to do it. Exactly. I don't have any of that right now, but maybe down the road. Or I can just hang out with enough people with good geology acumen to just slowly learn it from them. So we see another coral that's fallen over, and likely that will be consumed by sea stars and other animals and just become a skeleton. Can't really recover once they're knocked over or fallen over.
Oh.
Hmm? Mm. I just saw one octopus, but definitely not high densities of octopus by any stretch.
And they didn't see any shimmering on their last 2 transects?
They saw a few places they thought likely had some water extruding, but they weren't able to confirm that visually because they didn't want to stop the transect to do that. But they did mark them and note them.
Are there more octopus upslope from us? Like on the transects that are slightly
Yes.
higher up? Okay.
Uh-huh. So we already completed the 3 transects that kind of went through the core of where we knew we had aggregations.
Right.
We're now on kind of the flanks. So we're kind of downslope from that core area, and then the next transect will be
Upslope.
on the other side. They said it was steeper and rockier up there than they had expected. I don't know by the time we get to where we're going, what's going to be like. So if you're curious to know some of the other animals we're seeing here, that tall yellow animal is a stalked crinoid or feather star. You can see there's other animals that have climbed up that stalk and are using it as kind of a vertical habitat to get up in the water column. Most of the animals that we're seeing here are feeding on the marine snow that's raining down through the water column. They have different modes to do that. Some of the animals use little arms with sticky cells or other ways to collect the marine snow out of the water column. They're called suspension feeders. Some animals live on the bottom and kind of suck up the sediments. They're called deposit feeders, like sea cucumbers. And then we've talked about how inside of the sediments there are other animals that live down there called infauna. They're also consuming the organic matter in this marine snow. And then we see things like that grenadier up there and the octopus, and they're not eating the marine snow. They're eating the other animals that are eating the marine snow. So we've got an interesting food web down here that is not fed directly by sunlight, but instead kind of the base of it, of a lot of it is this marine snow that's slowly coming down to the seafloor from the water column above.
And while we're talking about the biology, we might as well just give a shout out to the microbiology that likely exists in this environment that we can't see with our eyes, and that is going to be studied with some of these fluid samples we're collecting. Try to understand some of the more fine detailed processes that may be related to the geochemistry.
Oh, here we've got a few more octopus. So it seems like they don't like to be right at the margin there. Like we're not seeing them right at the margin of the soft bottom with the rock, but we see them downslope a little bit.
From what I understand, octopuses will crawl in the sediment. It's a
What is that?
expected behavior.
It's like the one octopus to prove you wrong. It's the first one we've seen there.
No, but I was thinking, we're seeing this kind of sharp contrast.
Right, yeah.
And
joking.
in the areas where it's seeping, we see them tucked into these cracks and crevices where maybe a flat section turns into a vertical section, but that's not what they're doing here when they're not brooding. Kind of interesting.
You guys were talking about feeding, and we have a very important science question here.
All right, let's hear it.
How is the food on the EV Nautilus?
It's
Oh, there's too much of it. That's the problem. You have to be careful because there's all sorts of things.
They have quite a diverse selection of food on board, don't they?
Yep. There's always some fruit salad and different kinds of coleslaws and salads, and then hot food that is, you know, cooked fresh.
Yesterday they made
A
homemade
melange
pesto.
of meats to enjoy.
A melange of meats, yes.
And pork and beef and
raw
vegetarian
carrots at
options.
breakfast, which is nice.
Yeah, but still lots of vegetables and other things like that. And then in the afternoon, there always seems to be some sort of baked treat, sweet treat.
Life is good.
Mm-hmm.
Keep them fed, keep them happy.
Well, and the schedule that we work here, which we work 4 hours on and then 8 hours off, and then 4 hours on and 8 hours off, is definitely not your typical daily schedule. And so they have meal times, but sometimes you decide to sleep through a meal time. Oh, I think we have a giant pycnogonid down there.
Is that a sea spider?
Sea spider, do you see it?
Yep.
At the bottom.
Did you want us to look at it, or do
Just
you want?
let's just peek at it. That'd be great. We haven't seen
Right
one of
down in
those
the
in a
center
while.
there.
All right, video, go ahead. Start your zoom.
Sea spiders make me uncomfortable to look at.
Really?
Oh,
I
I
think
do
they're
not
so
enjoy
cool.
spiders.
Well, and most of them are so tiny too, right?
Oh yeah, but
This
these
is not
giant
tiny.
Barely
ones.
see
No, because very good size. Wait, is that a nude break on there?
The
There's
white thing
something on there.
front?
There's two
Looks like
things on
There's an
there.
isopod, but what's
Yeah.
the pink one? I guess you're
I
right.
think it's
a
another
pink.
isopod.
Yeah, you're right. Because
You want to come a little wide, video, please?
oh, and you can see that urchin looks like it has a little bit of maybe food that it's holding on to there on its back. That was neat. Thank you for that.
Sure, go ahead and come wide, video.
Mike, one of our viewers wants to know, has Hercules or Argus ever been attacked by denizens of the deep? I know if you go to our website, there is that really cool footage of the baby sperm whale. I don't know that it was attacking it per se, but
Yeah, I
any
think
other...
sperm whale was just checking us out. Squid attack the sub all the time. I think this question came up less than a week ago. Squid and crabs frequently try and attack the vehicle. I don't know of anything else. I mean, fish occasionally will get irritated with us.
Or do the crabs just crawl up on the
The crab, well, they can't. I mean, they just, you know, they just swing. They swing and they miss.
They hold up their claw, then they see predator, and they're like, ah.
Yeah. These crabs are fearless.
It's like a Don Quixote situation. Is that what you're saying?
Tilting at windmills.
These octopuses were pretty persistent in messing with operations. A little bit.
Helping,
Yeah, that's
helping
true,
with
yeah.
operations.
Oh, hey, do we have our first sea pig on this watch? I think we do.
Oh, sea pig.
Can we zoom in on the sea pig?
Sure. 1 sec. Hey, video, go ahead.
They're just so cool looking.
There we go.
Helen really does look like a pig.
Yeah, it does.
He's bacon out of it.
Which
And
one's
it-
the front?
So this one, I think you can kind of really see this idea of deposit feeder, right? You can see that it's reaching down into the sediments.
And there it just pumped some out.
Yeah, and they're going to take all the organic matter out of that sediment and then pass the rest through their gut and deposit it back on the sediment. That's right. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Go ahead and come wide, video.
Which way's the front?
I think we're looking at the
I
back
think the
end
one that
there.
was upslope,
Yeah.
yeah, with all the things around the
doesn't
mouth.
look really,
Okay.
really piggish. Very swiney.
Last year we were in a soft bottom area before we found the octopus, and there was a piece of kelp had fallen down, and it was like a sea pig party on that kelp. It was sea urchins and sea pigs, and they were having a grand old time. It's pretty neat.
There's a great question. Why are these octopus and other fish down here who live in constant darkness not incredibly surprised or terrified by the presence of Nautilus lights? Are their eyes vestigial?
No, I don't think the eyes are vestigial. I mean, I think some animals have different responses to the light. So there may be some animals that we don't see because they see the light coming and move out of view. But other animals might actually sit still. You know how sometimes the deer in the headlights idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we may have some animals that are sitting still in response to our presence. Other thoughts?
The first thing that comes to mind is that we don't know much about them, and they do live in the dark. Besides the bioluminescence they might encounter once in a while, they might not have they might not have a response. They might not, you know, it's not something they're normally subjected to, and evolutionarily they wouldn't have really evolved to deal with it. So they just may not
have a strong response.
Yeah, they just may not. On the level of things that stress them out, it might be very low.
But I think the bioluminescence thing is, the more that people look for bioluminescence, the more they're finding that there is quite a lot of different types of animals that can generate light in the deep sea. So there is communication that happens in the water column and around the seafloor between some animals that's based on light. It's just light that's being generated by the animals around them.
And they have eyeballs. So
Yeah.
I mean, they
have.
Yep. They must be able to
Functional eyeballs.
see something
Yeah.
with their eyeballs. Whether it's the same way we see in light, that's yet to be determined, at least with this particular species.
So many unanswered questions.
And some of them, you know, we're not going to get answers to just after these few short dives, because they're they would require actually collecting an organism and then being able to observe its behavior. And you can imagine that taking an organism out of a highly pressurized, very cold, dark environment, bringing it to the surface, getting it into a lab, into conditions that are comfortable for it, it takes a lot of specialized sampling equipment.
We just need some bright engineers to figure out how to build labs down at these depths.
Well, there are bright engineers at the Monterey Bay Aquarium and the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute that have worked that out for some animals, and the aquarium can display some deep sea animals in ways that they can survive and thrive.
Have them in pressure chambers.
Yeah, but it's not something that's simple, and they spent a lot of time trying to figure that out.
I speculate that there's people working on that.
And one thing that they do often, at least it was a while ago that I was an intern at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, but they were actively working on that component of displaying deep sea animals when I was there, and they were often displaying them with red light. So just the red wavelength, which does not penetrate this deep, and they seem to be able to tolerate because most of them probably couldn't detect it.
When I was an undergraduate, I worked in a deep sea lab with Dr. James Childress and went out to sea a couple of times, and we would bring animals up in Alvin. Obviously they didn't seem to be affected by the change in pressure. We'd put them then into pressure chambers to subject them to different stressors to try and better understand their physiology. But yeah, very interesting stuff. I was sort of referring to the notion that we would figure out how to go down there.
Oh, and develop like in situ
labs or
laboratories.
housing, or and it seems so far beyond our comprehension now, but I think it's similar to trying to explore Mars and whatnot in these extreme environments. Boldly go.
Well, they have underwater observatories, right, where scientists will stay for a period of time.
Yeah, they had Sea Lab off of off of
Florida,
Florida
right?
there.
Those are much shallower.
Yeah.
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 Suspect.
Yeah.
So they can dive down.
Have we?
Scuba dive.
Yeah. Have we slowed down?
The ship has not
Okay.
really slowed down, I don't think.
Okay. Just looking at the time and trying to figure out when we will be moving to the last transect.
Yep.
You said the last transect, not the next transect.
Well, I'm assuming it's probably going to be the last one.
Yes.
For us, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be quite a hike up to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Who knows what we'll see on that hike?
Yeah.
So there was a discussion that Jen and I had earlier that on our next watch together, we will probably be on the ascent. And on every cruise I've done, I've written a series of stories called fan tales. For those of you out there that don't know, the back of the ship is often called the fan tail. And I ask those that I work with if you could pick anybody to play you in the screen adapted version of fan tales.
That is such a hard question.
Who would you choose and why? I've already got Mike nailed dead to rights. I got 3 people: Leonardo DiCaprio,
Good choice.
Brad Pitt,
Uh-huh.
or I can never remember his name, the guy that played Thor.
Oh, is that a Hemming?
Yes,
A Hemming?
Chris Helmsworth.
Helmsworth,
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Am I right?
All right, Mike. There
I
you
was
go.
thinking Johnny Depp.
Okay,
but
so if Mike, if you had to choose one of those 3, then what's your top choice?
Oh, sorry.
He's not listening.
I wa
You just got so heavily complimented and you weren't even paying
wasn't
attention.
even listening. What were you?
Never mind.
Question?
if you could get anybody to play you in the screen adaptation of Fan Tales, Journeys of
Screen
Nautilus.
adaptation of what?
He really,
Missed
he's just
everything.
been totally tuning us
No,
out.
I was just
Good to know.
thinking about Argus's
Oh, you're
geometry
working.
there. I was
Oh,
working.
he
What were you?
It'll be a discussion for our ascent. Like, what actor?
I don't know. It's a pretty good discussion right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look in that hole, but I don't
You
see
have to go through the
anything.
actors again for
So I see Leonardo DiCaprio,
Oh,
Brad
wow.
Pitt, or Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Any
so
of
I'm gonna
those.
say, yeah, you get to choose one.
Wow.
D, all of the above.
Jeez. Yeah.
They could play you at different stages of your
That's right.
life.
All of them.
There.
Brad Pitt,
What?
they often, you know, can put him in some good aging makeup.
What
you know, I've
movie
seen
is
him.
this?
Fan Tales, the real life.
Call it Fan Tales. Life and Times aboard Nautilus.
Fantastic.
There we've got an octopus.
It already has like a soundtrack that's been well
Oh, yeah.
scripted in the vans.
Vogue definitely has to be in there at some
Yeah.
point now.
Anyway, food for thought.
Okay, well, we're all hoping that you're going to be as complimentary with our
To all of
suggestions
us,
as
yeah.
the rest we were with Mike. So you better put on your thinking cap.
Fantails. I was looking in the sonar and looking at the hill. Yeah, they're good ones. They're really good ones.
I have to do a lot of work on the training on the accent though, right? I'll spend some time with you.
Yeah.
in the control van. Hemsworth is like sitting back
Sitting
here.
over your shoulder.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so amazing.
It's getting a little warm in the control van all of a sudden.
Oh, all these corals.
Yeah.
Change. That was a good save. Change topic.
Look at those pillows. They look like you could just take a
That
nap.
lovely weather we're having, huh?
We've got black corals and pillows and lovely weather. So we're going to have to do a little of that backing down here to get to the end of the transect. Are we going to be going downhill?
Yeah, maybe.
We can just kind of,
Go along the side like this?
yeah,
Okay.
kind of go along a little bit like this. It should be,
On this run, we really kind of just like skirted along it.
yeah.
Okay.
Kind of. Not so much up and down as the other ones that we've done.
The next one is similar to that, right? Along the Beth.
The next one we're going back like to the northwest to start, is that right?
Yeah, we're going to go to the 4-3.
Yeah.
Harder to see.
Wow, they haven't really
I don't know.
churned these out. So we'll only not complete. On this tab, we'll only not
I just
complete
realized it
2.
changed colors, the
presumably.
line.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, no,
Do
you're
you
fine.
mind if I zoom out to try and figure out where we're going?
Yeah.
Sure.
We're almost at the end of the transect, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, almost is relative.
What's that, 20 minutes, 15 minutes or something?
Yeah, 50 meters.
Okay.
I got to share a checkout here from a listener. It's nearly 3 a.m. here in Washington. I've got to clock out. Thank you all for doing what you do and making this beautiful process so accessible to people like me. It's a grand gift. Good night from Seattle.
Must be
Good
that
night,
one.
Seattle.
Seattle.
Oh, were you
Seattle.
sleepless in Seattle and we helped you?
Oh, look at this great rock. That's so
All right.
pretty cool.
Thanks
Yeah.
for being with us, Seattle, and good night. Oh,
Wow,
this is, oh, look at
sponge.
this.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Ah.
That sponge. Oh my gosh. Maybe do you want to zoom
Wow.
in a little
Lovely
bit? there?
parting shot for Seattle.
Yeah, or they've already left, and it's one of those times as soon as you click off, something cool happens. Well, it looks like, yeah, it might be not alive inside there.
Oh.
Hmm.
And then the live tissue's out here
Yeah.
on the outer parts.
Looks like the sea star was just thrown there.
Splat. Splat. It's like a tuba.
You can
Yeah.
have
Like all these
portions of
sponges in
a
the
sponge
background
dye,
of
and the
it.
rest of it is fine. Sponges can regenerate. And so, yeah,
These are all other sponges in the background here
Yeah.
too, right?
right. All kind of look like they're drooping down.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's encrusting, no, there's many different kinds of sponges all over this wall. And then we also see some tube worms.
Some stalactite sponges here.
Again, none with square pants.
Gonna come a little wider video. We'll see if we can. Ooh, that one's cool.
Yeah, that other white one there, the kind of lacy.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, we're getting close to the end of this transect.
Well, our listeners have jumped in.
With?
Jessica can be played by Sandra Bullock.
Oh, are they looking at the pictures online?
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
And Ashley can be played by Alicia Vikander, or Vikander.
Who, Jess?
Ashley.
Ashley.
Who is that?
She was in, she's been in some movies recently.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Yeah, I think they asked this on a radio station that I listen to in the morning, KLOS. They asked if you had to compare yourself to an actor or actress, who would it be?
Don't know.
Did you already call on the ship to hold position? We probably could do that because we're going to swing pretty far.
What's
I'll
that?
take the bubble cam.
Yeah, sure, good.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, no worries. We could almost even back them up a little bit.
Back up the line.
Yeah, since we're almost at the end of this transect here, and then we'll square up on the one down there.
When you know we're going way up there.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were going there. Never
No,
mind.
go a million miles north.
A million miles. Never mind.
Or like 230 meters, but it's going to feel like a million miles.
Can we go faster?
Oh,
Or what do you think?
well, we always try to get a good speed. It just takes a while when we change direction like that to get up to speed.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta go from 0 to 0.5 meters real fast. Actually, more like... Yeah,
Sorry, it's a
0.5.
black line now. Can you see it okay?
Oh, it's fine. Yeah.
Almost there.
That was cool.
That anemone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really bright white.
For a second I thought it was a multi-armed sea star, which didn't make sense, but no, it was an anemone. Oh, I love these sponges that are on the stalks. So beautiful. Oh, the beautiful anemone next to it there. Tube anemone.
Yeah, we've got the Isle of Man on board right now.
Oh,
Wow.
hello.
Romania, Hungary, Brazil, Bulgaria, and Belgium.
Hello, Belgium.
Hello, welcome to Davidson Seamount.
What's that?
Okay, so
Is that the end of transect?
those look like tulips.
Very close.
Okay.
I don't know how
Jellyfish.
exacting you're
Or
feeling.
for
I'll zoom in.
species.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
fine.
Of course.
I see it. I see Herc now moving towards the little. That's the black circle, right? That's
It's the black circle with the pointer.
Yeah.
The other circle also is Herc, but
Maybe it's a light.
Oh.
we believe
Okay.
this one.
So we're officially off transect now? We've ended?
No.
I would say right
It's not there.
about now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that
now.
water?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm
So-
gonna.
I think it's a rock. Or is it? I don't know what it is. It's
Big
funny.
circle thing.
Now it looks like a rock.
Yeah, now it's moving away.
These transits that you hear us talking about, they're predetermined
So is that
lines.
the end of that transect
End
there?
of that transect, yeah. We're gonna be moving
Great.
up and over the slope. So do you want to wait until we'll settle in before we start going up there?
Yeah, let's wait till we settle in a bit.
Okay.
Do you see it?
That Cascale's moving out.
The
ROV's gone, show's gone.
Yeah, no, I think you should just move us right away because we're going to go up that way anyway. If we settle in, we're going to have to come back down here and go back up. You know what I mean? If the ship just leaves and goes up there, we'll just going to pretty much go on a little tiny hook and then go up.
All right, sure thing.
But
Yeah.
it is, it
Yeah, right
will
with
be
that.
up. It's going to be up slope either way.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
So bearing is about, let's say, 320. And I'll have them track a line.
All right, 320. Roger.
So now we're going up this
And
way?
just
Up
to see
Yeah.
where we're going to.
It's here-ish. That's the line there.
That's
and
the
I'm
line.
trying to bring the ship here and then decide if we want to be, as we get up there, on which side of it.
All
I
right.
think, well, Argus has settled out on this side now, but maybe we could be on the downslope side.
All right.
The
Bridge-
idea that I could
bridge
be
nav?
sitting here in rainy Manchester, UK,
Are you
but
off the
also
line now,
exploring
Jess?
the floor of the
Yeah,
Pacific
we're
Ocean
end of the transect.
Yeah, okay.
is mind-blowing. Thank you for making this so accessible.
Let's
Also
just
helps
get
that
in that.
everyone on the stream went to
I'm
the
gonna
Bob
get
Ross
Argus out to
School of
320.
Look at the
Zero.
scale.
Yeah, sounds
And
good.
It's probably just related to the fact that there's water flowing over it. yeah, I was concerned about that at first. Actually, I was a little excited, but then I looked at the scale and I thought,
Actually,
yeah, these are
I'm gonna come
probably
around
within
the
the
other way,
error of
Jess.
the instrument measurement
It's like
capabilities.
0.8, 0.9
Oh,
turns.
yeah.
Occasionally, though, you'll see that the temperature increase by like up to
Might
like
pull you here.
Yeah. no
0.1
worries.
degree for a little while and then go back down. So there's seems to be like different currents and stuff we are encountering, but they're so minor. I don't.
Are we heading to transect 4-3 or 3-4?
4-3.
Yeah.
We're going to
And
run
then
from point 4 to point 3.
on high back, what do we know what point it is?
You're not on SPL.
Sorry, thanks. I think you're probably right by saying 2. I'll zoom out. It's just labeled on the other side. Stand by.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, no worries.
Yeah, I have 2 over here. Just wanted to confirm.
Yep.
2. Oh, so you're
Okay.
in high pack. They're just labeled on one end.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing,
so we're
amazing
noting
bit of
down
software.
both.
Okay.
Probably want to spin around that way too, Jess, if
yeah,
you want
2.
to keep that negative half turn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, we can just, I mean, we don't really have any preference
you.
on positive or negative, or is there?
No, we
Is there
like
reason?
negative now since we've been having that little kink in the tether.
Oh, for the half wrap. Okay.
I suppose we could have tried it just to see what it's like.
So I think those little
Okay.
stalk sponges kind of look like little tulips.
They are pretty.
320. 320, is that correct?
I think
Correct,
so.
320.
Okay.
And they have that in and getting underway.
Roger.
Might be interesting to note that the
Just get away
general
from the
area
wall a
of
little bit.
seafloor where we are is just all kind of flat sediment. And so these rocky areas are not typical for the deep seafloor area. We're spending a lot of time exploring this kind of harder, rockier feature, but in the surrounding areas, there's a lot of just kind of fairly flat, thick, deep sediment. So these rocky areas kind of concentrate life, particularly the types of life that needs hard substrate to attach and grow, like the corals and the sponges.
All right, let's send some positive vibrations to Hong Kong, who's checking in with a quick question. Why do most of the marine life you're coming upon have a palish white color?
So down here in the deep sea, as we were talking about a little bit ago, you don't get any sunlight at all. So these animals are living in a deep, dark environment. As we mentioned, some of the other organisms may be able to emit their own light at times through bioluminescence, but there's
Getting them on
no,
SPL?
Sorry?
You hear them on SPL?
there is
A
no,
little bit.
there is no sunlight reaching here. So really bright colors often are not necessary for communication, and white, gray, silver, red, these kinds of colors just aren't detected very easily in the deep sea. So that's...
But at the same time, we have seen oranges and reds and purples and greens and
Like, I don't know
vibrant yellows.
why a coral may be white versus yellow versus peach.
Might have something to do with the chemistry. Sulfur tends to make things yellow.
Yeah.
An octopus in the down cam there.
And the bubble cam right below us. Right?
John in the UK said
Oh,
after
down
watching
camera
this
Vargas.
stream for a
Oh.
few hours yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
he had octopus dreams all night long. Does this work affect the team's dreams too? Ashley, you have yourself some Nautilus dreams?
Yeah, mostly stress dreams. I'm gonna miss my shift.
Nightmares of a video engineer. Mike, what about you?
I haven't had any octopus dreams, but I can relate to the occasional stressy work dream.
Yeah. Jess?
I don't think I've had an octopus dream. No, but sometimes I did have one about hydrothermal vents once, and that was
Any
a while
Tina
ago.
4 terrors?
No. One of which I thought, yeah, more nightmares sometimes.
Tina 4 terror.
Argus laying on the seafloor. Aaron, what
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah, definitely more of those stress dreams. I always think that I'm falling asleep on the job and I have to wake up and stare at the screens, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Jennifer?
I'm not very good at remembering my dreams. I feel like last night I did have a dream related to something that we were doing out here, but I can't remember what it was. So, no, I haven't had many deep sea octopus dreams that I can recall. I definitely have stress dreams sometimes, but I often forget them pretty quickly after I wake up.
Annie?
I live the octopus dream.
Fine line between a dream and a nightmare, isn't there?
No, I mean, it's so great. Like, you know, when your job is to watch videos and look at octopuses and observe their behavior, that's sweet. But I don't like to take my work home, so.
Yeah. Mugda?
We can't hear you, Magda.
Sorry, my mic was mute. I don't think I've had any dreams about the deep sea, but I do get some of the stress dreams sometimes. I dream of like I slept through my watch or something, or like I run up here and get here right on time. But yeah,
It is kind of neat though, sleeping on the ship, because there's this nice lull
yeah,
with
it
the
does.
way that the ship moves on the ocean surface.
Yeah, it
Rocks us to
does.
sleep.
It does.
Sounds
Yeah.
like we're all having stress dreams.
So I'm not.
Everybody says it.
See, but I don't have stress dreams out here. I have them at home. This is a vacation from my stress dreams. I'm totally
TMI.
relaxed. I am relaxed out here.
I barely got any sleep last night, but when I did, I totally do remember having this dream of me staring at the screen trying to count octopus.
Really?
Yeah,
How many did you get to?
I have no idea. I just remember it was a little bit stressful, and I was like, I got to count these before I have to go to sleep. So,
I find it curious, when I go back to land, I usually have nightmares when I go back to land for like the first week. Every night I usually have a nightmare.
huh.
And I wonder if it's the absence of the rocking motion of
Yeah,
when we
maybe.
fall asleep. So here, I mean, the stress dreams aren't nightmares. The stress dreams are just, like
Yeah.
waking up late to lab or something. Or not lab, but to go out into this place, this environment, I guess you could say. But yeah, when I go back to land, I usually have perpetual nightmares for at least a week.
Huh.
I'll definitely miss the rocking sometimes. That's pretty comfortable, but
Yeah.
can't say I have stress dreams when I'm home.
When I get back to land, I get the worst dock rock when I take a nap. Like I wake up and my house is moving.
Oh.
That usually lasts about a week. And I'm also dreaming about looking at screens.
I usually almost fall down in the shower when I'm washing my hair. I close my eyes so the soap doesn't get in my eyes, and I sway back and forth and almost fall down.
Dock rock is when you get off the boat and you can still feel that sensation
Yeah.
of the ocean moving under you.
All right, here's a question for Jessica
you
and
see that?
Michael, although
Sorry?
Aaron,
Why can you see Argus in your sonar?
It's been like that for
It's not,
a little
though,
bit.
is it?
I think that is because we were seeing it earlier too. But our delta's 16, that's probably why, because it's on top. There might be a slight angle.
Didn't think you'd see it that far
There
away.
is a octopus over to the right there, I think.
I gotta check my left and my right. Okay.
But I guess to test the hypothesis is to go up on the winch a little bit and then see if it goes away.
It is it. It's in the right place. Yeah.
Yeah.
See some kind of trail. Really subtle trail.
Yeah. What is that, 26?
Got another ctenophore.
Where, I'm sorry, where?
I think there's another ctenophore. It's hard to see now. No, I can't see it.
I saw what you were talking about, but I'm not sure
Yeah,
what it was.
you
It
don't-
was very subtle,
Yeah.
and it was not nearly as vibrant as that last one.
No.
All right, so here's a great question for Jessica and Michael and I believe Aaron as well. And it is remarkable. How do you ensure that the ROVs are not just dragged along uncontrollably like a rock on a rope by the ship when it moves? How do you monitor that to maintain steady movement and be able to loiter when you need to?
Loiter.
Yeah, well, that's the job.
That's why they have stress streams.
Stress streams over it.
That's why you hear us having side conversations a lot, trying to.
That's right. That's why there's like 3 people to do that. And don't work for more than 4 hours at a time.
Yeah, and the ship has a remarkable nav system as well.
Yep, we have lots of rules and procedures, and we have experience. We have usually 2 or 3 different sensors to, you know,
Can we zoom in on
to
that
get a
dark
data
purple?
point that's important to us. So
In
if
the middle?
something fails,
Yeah.
or we can
Yeah,
corroborate
I see
one with the other, things like that.
Jelly.
Yeah, right there.
Oh yeah, it
Or-
does look like that.
Yeah.
It's got like a little tail though, or is it just on something?
It might be on
It
a
is-
little seagrass or something.
Looks a lot like that one we saw
Yeah.
earlier. A bit smaller though.
Not quite as vibrant red, a little more purple. But yeah, another jelly on the seafloor.
You can almost see it changing.
I think she's
Like to,
changing
like-
the
Oh, okay.
iris. Thank you.
Cool.
So coloration is, it's really beautiful to look at, but sometimes it's hard to use as an identification factor because the artificial light that we create can change how we perceive the colors.
And that was that Parrelia rufescens. Did you get that?
Yeah.
It's my favorite new animal.
Which one?
The red
The-
jelly.
Okay, so it's Parrelia rufescens.
Yes.
There you go. That's your new favorite, huh?
It is.
All right.
What are these little stick-looking things?
Stick-looking things. Let's zoom in and take a look at the stick-looking things.
Yeah. Video, want to go ahead and push in? Some worms.
What are those? Huh. They do look like sticks, huh?
They do. Maybe some type of like
Sorry.
tube.
Oh, I wonder if
casing.
wonder if it could be like a coral skeleton that's been
yeah.
denuded from all the flesh. That's possible.
Because it could be quite old,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes when they take the sediment cores, this isn't necessarily what Dane will be looking at, but if you break up the sediment and look finely at it, you'll see remnants of old
Come on,
Thank
video.
you.
old skeletons from sponges and corals.
Gothenburg, Sweden would like to know, is there some specific animal that you personally hope to see during this expedition?
A moose.
Moose.
I've always wanted to see a moose.
During this expedition.
Oh.